For a discussion on developments at the parallel hearings in the SAPS, we're joined now by Professor Dumisani Mabunda from the Department of Police Practice at Unisa. Prof, good to have you on the program this evening. And given the recent revelations, how would you assess the current state of police oversight and accountability mechanisms in the country? Are we in a crisis or a turning point here?
Good evening, Antla, and good evening to the viewers. Yes, indeed, South Africa is in a crisis mode, but the positive side of these developments is that we will come out of this situation stronger, and this opportunity will provide South African citizens with knowledge that will capacitate them to be able to question things where they suspect that irregularities are taking place. The turbulence that is taking place currently in the criminal justice system may be regarded as a risk to stability in the country, but we are hopeful that it will be managed in a proper way to avoid further damage.
From a policing perspective, what has been the most significant outcome from your view or failure of this ad hoc committee so far?
Yeah, a good question, Ntlanhla. The ad hoc committee representatives are not legally proficient individuals. They are politicians. So they are questioning at times borders from representing their parties. Sometimes you feel that the chairperson should intervene and correct certain things, but he appears to be allowing people sometimes to move away from direct questions, answering direct questions. But if you look at the Madlanga Commission, because that platform is led by legally proficient individuals, they are able to intervene where they have to and guide the witnesses in the right direction in the form of answering direct questions.
Yeah. How should the public then interpret testimony, especially from high-ranking officials like General Sibia, for instance? Does it signal cracks in the institutional wall or something deeper that we're seeing here?
As researchers, we have always been aware that there are instability in a criminal justice system, especially in the police. Since the era of General Mchunu in the intelligence division, that is when we realized that there is interference, political interference in that space. And you can imagine certain decisions were taken based on the faction that was involved in a certain allegation. So it continued from there, and now it has come up into the surface since the media briefing by General Mkhwanansi on the 6th of July this year. So we are hoping that there will be stability from now going forward.
Yeah. The Madlanga Commission also, very interestingly, has adopted in-camera proceedings, including anonymous testimony by witness X, for instance. Do such measures then undermine transparency, or are they necessary, if you will, for safety and integrity of these hearings?
There should be a balance. As we know, intelligence matters cannot be made public. Most of the things that are happening in the intelligence space is classified information. So I think it creates a balance in terms of protecting the witnesses and also avoiding making public intelligence issues that are not for public consumption. So we're hoping that these commissions will find a way of paraphrasing the things that are happening in camera so that the reports from these parallel structures are as comprehensive as possible without necessarily exposing whistleblowers to risks.
Right. The technical interruptions during remote testimony also do raise some serious concerns here. What effect do these disruptions then have on public confidence, if you will, in this process, but also its findings?
Yeah, it's a good question, Tlantla. It disrupts the whole thing. Let me give you a typical example. In a previous week or so, there was General Kumalo who was busy with his testimony, and the following day, there were interruptions because he fell sick, and they had to call other witnesses. So there's no flow in terms of chronologically putting these things together. So the disruptions will have an impact because it will give some other people advantage, because when they first hear one witness, it will bolster them to quickly change their testimony so that they can counter what has previously been presented.
The WhatsApp evidence also revealed links between Kat Matlala and senior police officials as well. How endemic is this kind of relationship between corrupt actors, if you will, and law enforcement, especially based on your research or experience?
I think in South Africa, we are a unique country. If you look at the secret services in the US, there's no way in which undesirable elements, if I can use that word, can be involved in the secret services functions. But in South Africa, we do not know how that came about. And that's why some researchers are even suggesting that the intelligence agency of this country need to be totally overhauled because it is contaminated. There's no way in which you can allow civilians, no matter how powerful they are, to be involved in security matters of the country.
Yeah. We've also heard disturbing claims about academics being used to push narratives in exchange for money. What are the implications here when scholarly voices are then co-opted into misinformation or disinformation efforts?
Ntlanhla, I'm an academic, but I'm not involved. You're not including me, no?
Well, not at the moment. But yeah, what's your assessment?
Yeah, possibly because we've heard that there is a professor from KwaZulu-Natal who had influenced the former Minister of Police in one way or another, which I regard as totally unacceptable, because a civilian cannot come and try to become a police officer. Yes, civilians are allowed to assist police in terms of reporting crime and all other things, but for our ministers or our commissioners to listen to the voices of civilians more than their counterparts in the organization, like commissioners and generals from all the 9 provinces, I think that needs to be corrected, because some of these witnesses that are mentioned, they have questionable characters. So, we need to relook this issue of civilians getting more involved in the security matters of this country.
Yeah. What does the Matlala case and the surrounding ecosystem of influence tell us, especially about this intersection of politics, business, and organized crime in the country?
Yeah, this stems from the political funding. Parties can be able to do well in elections if they have resources. So that opens up for many political organizations to accept funding from questionable characters. Money has no color. So from whatever angle parties can source the funding, it will result in those people who are funding organizations expecting some kind of favors. So that need to be looked at in terms of avoiding people who are not supposed to be involved in the justice system of this country to get involved.
Yeah, it segues quite nicely into my next thought, because where do you see the most significant structural vulnerabilities, especially within SAPS, that allow for this level of infiltration and manipulation?
Yes, it's a difficult one, Tlantla. Perhaps after these commissions, there will be proper structures that will make sure that people who get involved in the criminal justice system are vetted. But we've heard in the past week that some of the high-ranking officers of the police, for example, don't have security clearance. So that exposes the country in various ways. So hopefully recommendations from these two platforms will include those boundaries that civilians must not be allowed to influence decisions in the criminal justice system.
And as we wrap, what must happen urgently, in your view, to then restore credibility in South Africa's criminal justice institutions, especially the SAPS? Are we talking leadership change, deeper reform, or public pressure as well, more public pressure?
I think reform is the way to go, but reform doesn't happen overnight. So what can be done at this stage is to try and manage the situation while these reforms are being put into place, because they will take longer. We don't know how long these commissions will take. Looking at the deliberations, sometimes these commissions will even ask for extension. And by the end of these commissions, they will have to take these recommendations to the president, and the president will apply his mind. And as we know that in 2026, there are local government elections. South Africans are quick to forget. After these commissions, we may think that something urgent will take place, but before you know it, there is another scandal. But hopefully, something positive will come out of these processes, so that the security of this country is guaranteed.
Professor Mabunda, thank you so much for your time and your expertise, and also your unflinching commitment to unpacking some of the most urgent challenges facing the country's policing and oversight institutions. Of course, as South Africa navigates a critical moment, if you will, for accountability and reform, his insights have helped illuminate the road ahead. We do look forward to following the Prof's work and continuing this essential conversation.